Okay, so I'm going to talk about the subjectivity of pricing. This is a key issue that I explain to clients when we first meet them, and it really has to do with the fact that insurance pricing is very difficult to price. If you think about it, the cost of the product is unknown because the insurance companies can't know what the cost of your policy should be until the losses come in years down the road, typically. It's unlike any product I can think of, and it has an impact, a big impact on how fluid and how subjective the pricing is on the part of underwriters. Think of it in terms of when you go out to buy another product. Say you're going to go out and buy a truck. You'll go to 2 or 3 truck dealers, and the price difference between those trucks from one dealer to another will be fairly minimal, 5 to 10%. The margins are actually quite close in terms of the difference in pricing between trucks from different dealerships. But if you've received insurance quotes before for your business, I'm sure you've seen how wide a price range you can receive for the same policy. You might see a quote for your workers' compensation come in at $27,000, another insurance company is at $34,000, a third insurance company is at $53,000. They're all over the map. And the reason is that the pricing by underwriters is very subjective. So this has a big impact on a lot of behavior in the industry, which we'll explain in other videos, that actually has a big impact on your pricing. So by understanding the subjectivity of pricing, you'll be in a better position to negotiate lower pricing and to understand why things happen in insurance negotiating for business insurance. A little bit different for personal lines. For personal auto and homeowners, those are more actuarially driven. But for business insurance, it's very subjective. So why is that? Well, if you think of it, the cost of the product, and the cost for insurance companies is your claims. And the cost of the product is unknown. If you talk to actuaries who develop the statistics that go into insurance rates, they would tell you that until you get a single account, a single business that has very, very large losses, perhaps $1 million a year or more, the statistical reliability of the past losses are not significant enough to be able to predict future losses accurately. And let me give an example. Let's say we had a business and we had $100,000 in workers' compensation claims every year. Magically, 5 years in a row, we had $100,000 in claims each year to the penny. So that would tell us that the future claims for that company are going to be what? Nobody knows. It could be zero, it could be $1 million next year for the claims in workers' compensation or anywhere in between. In fact, the chances it would be exactly $100,000 again are virtually nil. And so in this environment that underwriters work in, they have to make a lot of judgments about businesses and about the risk and about the likelihood of future losses. Making this even more complicated is that no two businesses are alike, even two businesses in the same industry. So consider 2 auto repair businesses. You might have different customer base. You might have a more loyal and more long-term customer base at one auto repair operation than you do at another. And that would typically mean that they're less likely to sue. They have a relationship and they're less likely to sue. You might also be working on newer model cars. You might be in a newer neighborhood where the cars aren't quite as old and don't need as much attention as in another area. And so those cars are less likely to break down and cause problems and perhaps cause a claim to happen. There are literally hundreds of issues that you can consider between any 2 similar businesses that actuaries, those developers of the statistics, can't really consider in terms of their ability to make rates for that industry, for, in this case, the auto repair industry. And those hundreds of issues are things that underwriters can and do consider, if they're aware of them, in order to determine what price they think should be applied to any particular business. So you have hundreds of issues that underwriters could consider, and these issues could be anywhere from, what type of training do the employees get? The training at the one auto repair shop might be more extensive than the training at another auto repair shop. The underwriters might be willing to consider how experienced the managers are at the shop. If it's a brand new shop and the manager has only a year experience as a manager at another auto repair shop, that's different than somebody who's been doing it for 20 years. A person doing it for 20 years has a track record, they have experience probably with claims, and they're probably more careful, and the underwriter might be able to determine that. In other sites of our parts of this website, the Insurance Dragon website, you can find hundreds of potential arguments, and we get into that later in some of the other videos to help you negotiate your insurance pricing downward. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the impact of the subjectivity of pricing and then also the consequences